Hello, everyone. This is Nasir Qureshi, Realtor Daddy, for the Wisdom Wednesday TV talk show on Uni Mix TV. And we have another great episode, hot on demand, Wisdom Wednesday. One of the experts with us. We are honored and privileged to have him on the show so he can spend some time and we can learn from him. And Mr. Clifford is with us all the way from Chicago. Hello, Mr. Clifford. Welcome, sir.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you, sir. So you are an established author, expert, and the simple scholar. Uh, so tell our audience that who is Clifford, who is the simple scholar.
Okay. Yes, my name is Cliff Ratza, and I call myself the simple scholar because I do have 5 degrees, but I always try to keep things simple. Now, I grew up in Chicago, went to top universities in Illinois, and after graduating from business school, I started my business career working in Houston for one of the major oil companies. But as life, has it, it happens to you in an order than other than you expected. So I changed careers, and I've held every job in sales and marketing for a variety of companies and industries in different parts of the United States. About 20 years ago, I decided to move back to Chicago and redirect my career back into computers and teaching. And I made time to start writing my novels, which subsequently led to my becoming a writing coach. And I enjoy living in Chicago, and I combine my writing and teaching with my business consulting company that I started.
Excellent. So what is your like specific topic that you mostly like your focus is that you like to talk about or gear to that focus towards your audience?
Well, the audience might like to hear some of what I teach in my writing coach program because these principles apply to everyone. For example, project management, or I could also discuss uh, writing books and or public speaking because I have experience both studying this material as well as practicing it.
And I'm curious to know, and I'm pretty sure my audience would like to know as well, what was like your pivotal moment where the light bulb went on, and what is that moment that your switch went on, right?
Well, I would have to say that that goes way back to 6th grade when my 6th grade teacher said, you know, you're pretty smart and you do really well in both mathematics and reading and writing when you apply yourself. He said, not many people are good at both math and reading and writing. And he said, when I apply myself, I do quite well.
But that was a true statement and a very encouraging statement, right?
I took it
So,
that way.
well, I'm glad you did, and looks like you're doing well with it. She was right. So, tell me, like, what trends do you see? What's moving, and what are the trends in your industry that you see?
I'll use the publishing and writing industry for that. And I
Uh-huh.
see several trends. The first would be the trend towards self-publishing. There's a lot of software available that writers can use to create their books as well as edit them. So that would be, the first trend. The second would be the upsurge in writing coaches that teach writers how to write a book.
Correct. Yeah. And that's very important because, a lot of people, I myself as an author, and when I bring up to the people every day, I'm an author, uh, they say, "Oh yeah, they have been thinking about writing a book, but they never got to it, and or they don't know how to." So I before becoming an author, I had to read at least 5 or 6 books first to know how to write a book.
Yes, and I
So
would add to that, add to the trends, the trend towards online sales and marketing for book launches,
mhm,
as well as the social media marketing and websites.
very important. It's very important. Writing a book is a challenge itself, one thing itself, but getting it out there and letting people know that you have done that, that's that's another challenge itself.
Yes. There's a saying that if you write it, they will come, but that's not true. If you write it and you market it and get the word out and build awareness, interest, desire, and action on the part of readers, then maybe they'll buy it.
Correct, correct, correct. So, um, this is every author challenge or task is that whatever they have in their mind or what they want to write about, how can they transfer that, whether simple or a very complex idea, onto black and white, where another person at any given time can read and understand? How do you transfer and how do you focus and write about the complex ideas that you want to let people know?
I would refer to Simon Sinek's Getting to Why. Simon Sinek is a popular business consultant, and he says the first thing you want to do is figure out what you're writing about,
Mhm.
and then ask and answer for yourself the question, why am I writing it? Because if you establish that, if you know the why, then you go to the next circle on the target, the what. If you know what you're if you know why you're writing, then you can know what you're going to say, and then the outermost circle is the how you're going to state that in a manner that readers find enjoyable, so they will stick with your book from the opening sentence to the very end.
Mhm. Great advice. Great advice. The biggest challenge in the industry.
Well, I think the biggest challenge in the industry right now are the hoaxes being played on writers. For example, I've been scammed many times with hoaxes saying, "Oh, you hire me and we'll get your book published in 3 months. It'll be picked up by a big five publisher, and we'll also guarantee it'll be published. And after that, we'll get you a movie contract. And if we don't fulfill our promises, we'll give you your money back." Those are hoaxes.
And that has happened to you before, right?
Yes, it's happened too many times, but I've been fortunate. I have a good marketing team that
Hmm.
helps keep me within the rails, and they help expose the hoaxes.
Great, 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 great. Um, one very important question that we all, as human beings and also as authors, uh, are challenged with, and and the strive for is the discipline of writing, right? We got the whole day activity going on, we got the holidays, or weather is good, weather is bad, procrastination, and how do you keep yourself disciplined to write, or however you write, every day, every week? Where that discipline and the drive comes from? Any tips for our audience on that, please?
Writers today, as well as just about everyone, is struggling to keep up with the pace of life. We all have families and our personal life and careers to juggle. And for writers, they have to include in that juggling act time to write. And what writers have to do is come up with something they really want to write about. So that's going to make, when they sit down and write, enjoyable. Then they have to find a writing routine so that when they actually sit down and start writing, they don't have to, think about, what am I going to do? How am I going to set up the chairs? What paper and pen am I going to get out? Or which software am I going to use? They have an established routine, and they should write every day. And they shouldn't beat up themselves if they don't write as much as they wanted to. They should reward themselves for writing something. So every day, write and reward yourself for whatever you accomplished.
Okay. Um, some people actually do the old school way, pen and paper. Some people do still, I don't know if they still do the typewriters, computers. Some people do audio transformation, audio transcripts. They and then transcribe it later on. What do you think that what is the preferable way for or a starter, a new author, first time, how they should begin uh, doing that?
Okay, well, it's a combination of writing things down and then using the computer. A writer should have with them in their quiet moments, they should have a notebook where they can jot down ideas that come to mind.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have to be ideas about writing, it can be anything that comes into their head. And that serves as a foundation for when they're reflecting on things, ideas are going to come to mind. So they write that down. But today, when they actually start writing, and this applies to just about every author, they're familiar with using the computer. So they can power up their computer and use whatever writing software they wish to start writing, the chapters. Now, for me, I use writing software, but I keep it in the background. I simply use Microsoft Word because the writing software is good, but sometimes it becomes too tricky unless you use it every day. There are probably a dozen different writing software packages that will do the content development, the structuring, the line editing, and the proofing. But it sometimes trips itself up. So I find it's better to do my writing in Microsoft Word, and then I can cut and paste whatever pages I've written into the software. For example, I use Pro Writing Aid, and I will cut and paste the pages that I've just written into Pro Writing Aid, and it will give me wonderful editing and comments. By the way, the software today uses chat GPT like artificial intelligence to critique what you've written.
Okay. What drives Clifford for what you do? What is your why?
I've always enjoyed writing, and I've known from a very early age that I enjoy telling stories. But writing wasn't my first choice of careers. I'm a baby boomer. I grew up during, Sputnik, and because I'm pretty good at both writing and number crunching, I was people encouraged me to go into science. So, I got degrees in mathematics and physics, computer science. So, I launched my career that way, but I've always used writing as a tool, and I enjoy writing. And like I said, about, I don't know, 10 years ago, I started writing my novels, and I've been doing the writing ever since. If you'd like to know what motivates me today to actually write novels, I can tell you that as well.
Please.
Okay. I'm sure everyone has had an experience where they've read something that they loved. Well, I would imagine most listeners are familiar with William Golding's first novel, Lord of the Flies. It's about a group of adolescent boys that are stranded on an island in World War II, and they revert to primitive savagery. Well, it's a great movie. It was a great book, turned into a wonderful movie. In high school, my class read that, but we also read William Golding's second and final novel called The Inheritors. It shows the clash of civilizations between the prehistoric Neanderthal, and Neanderthals were kind and gentle and strong, but rather simple. Well, the book shows the clash between the Neanderthals and the Homo sapiens. That's us. We're not very strong physically, but we're clever and often devious. Well, in this clash of prehistoric civilizations, the clash made the Neanderthals go extinct. When I read that, I said, someday I'd like to write a novel that shows what happens to us human beings when we're about to be knocked off the top of the food chain pecking order. And for the past 30 years, I've been writing that first novel in my head because I had to develop a scenario, a setting for which that made sense. And that's the foundation for my first 5-book series of novels called the Lightning Brain series.
Excellent. What a beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Very nice. Very nice. What Clifford does for fun.
For fun, I write. I have my consulting business, and I talk with my clients. I do their newsletters. I help design the copy for the website, and I do their financial analysis. And I take breaks from the work as well as breaks from writing by going out and running. I was a good endurance running athlete, and when I'm out running, I'm writing. So when I come home, I'm tired physically, but I can sit down and simply write using my word processor. I can record the pages that I've written while I'm out running.
Mm. So, what the audience and the world can expect next coming from Clifford?
Well, in addition to the 5-book Lightning Brain series, I have the 3-book Keepers series completed, the 3-book Reset series completed, and the 4-book Transcendence series. Each book and each series is standalone, so readers can actually read the books in whatever order they want, but they are all intertwined. And readers can pick up any book and figure out where they are in the odyssey of our protagonist, Electra Kittner. She's the heroine that Hollywood has been looking for. I'm already writing the first novel in the next series, which I call the Emergence series. And I've been contacted by Hollywood producers. They want to take the screenplays I already have and turn them into movies. However, my challenge is to avoid being scammed.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. My last question that I ask this to every guest on my show is, what one message that you would like generally to give to the world, a message that, if that you can share it with now and the future, anytime, what, from your experience as life, professional, business, everything, what is one message that you can give, all times message, to every individual out there in the entire world? What would that be from Clifford?
I'll use some great advice that a competitive runner gave to me when I was when my running career was blossoming. He said, "Cliff, remember, it's better to be a has-been than a never was." And you can interpret it this way: don't be afraid to go for what you want. That means just, go for it. Don't be a has-been. Just go for it, rather than a never was, one that is frustrated because they never saw how good they could get.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I want to thank you, sir, for spending your valuable time with us. And I really enjoy our conversation. And we would love to have you back again in the near future on our show.
Well, thank you. And you make the interviewee very comfortable. And talking with you is, it's, I'm not aware of the time. We just are talking. I don't know how long we talked, and that's a sign that we really were in the moment and enjoying that moment. So thank you.
Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you. Likewise. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, sir.